Good afternoon, Jamie. How are you doing today?
I'm okay.
Okay, you kind of hesitated. What's going on?
Well, I'm just not having a good day. Just a lot of things that are going on that I don't know, just have doing good today.
Okay, you said a lot of things going on. What's going on?
Um, just just loneliness, and I feel like I don't really have anybody around me that is wants to be in my life, so it's just
Right?
sucks.
Why do you feel like that?
Well, you know, you have friends that, can be around just when they want something. You have friends that are around when you need something, and it's like if I don't reach out to people, they don't take time to reach out to me. And it's just frustrating because I do want to be around people. I do want friends, but like why put up with all that mm, like rejection or complacency if they're not going to put forth effort to be in my life. So I just kind of like backed away from everything, not even picking up the phone to talk to people or text people. It's just annoying because I think I'm a good person. I think I'm okay, like friend, and they just nobody wants to hang out with me. And when I do get one person's like, oh, I'm doing this, you should come out or you should hang out with us. It's like depends on the day, like if I'm feeling up to it, because I usually just like sleep all the time when I'm not working. And I just don't feel well to go out. And I hate to say, yeah, I'm coming out and then just disappoint people by not showing up or canceling at the last minute because I just don't feel like getting out of bed.
But don't you think that would help?
I mean, yeah, but I think a lot of people invite me out of pity or like they don't really want me there, but they know I'm just hanging out like home alone or whatever. It's not like leading up to the invite, they were like really interested in what was going on with me. So I feel like it sometimes can be a pity invite, but like I don't know. I don't know if I deserve friends right now because I just can't put 100% of myself into it. Like tired all the time. Don't feel like I want to go to work, but I know I have to. I'm not feeling like I'm doing 100% at work either. So it's it's just a vicious cycle. I feel like I want people to want to hang out with me, but then when they do, I don't necessarily always want to go. I don't know. I don't know.
What are you afraid of?
I don't think I'm afraid necessarily. I just think it's not genuine. The relationship is not 50-50. The friendship's not 50-50. So, and then I do feel like when I'm there, I don't want, if I am in a bad mood, I don't want to bring other people down, or why is she acting like that?
So even when you go out, you still feel bad, nothing helps, not even being around your friends?
Um, it depends on what it is, but I usually try to like make myself look like I'm having a good time. But in my mind, I'm just like, oh, I just can't wait to leave, or I don't want to be around like a lot of people.
How come I know that you said it's been happening, you've been having these feelings for a while.
hmm
Um, but can you like pinpoint what started this?
Um, I guess like it started like teenage years, because there was a lot of social stuff that I wasn't invited to, or if I was invited because of like, again, like felt pity, like the parents were like, you have to invite her, she's in your class type of thing, then I felt like, oh, well, people are making fun of me while I'm here, or, you know, not all of them are real friends. They're just like acquaintances or people in my class. So, I mean, I'd go because of, everybody try to save face and like, oh, you're invited, you should go, and our families were kind of interacting, so I had to go. But it didn't really pop back up until I moved back um, to the US. And like when I was overseas, everybody was always like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? They were so interested in me because I was different than them. I felt like kind of like almost like a local celebrity per se, but like that was still isolating too in some ways because sometimes you just want to shut it out. So I think from the transition from living overseas to coming back, it was kind of like a reverse culture shock. And I just kind of stuck to myself and just had a few people that would I would talk to here and there.
You said you were overseas. What were you overseas for?
So I had taken an opportunity to teach English in Japan. So I was over there for a year, or wait, 2 years. I stayed over there to teach English.
How did you feel about being over there?
I mean, a lot of things I liked about it, but like I'm never gonna be Japanese. I'm never gonna assimilate per se into their culture. So I was always like either by the students who are really interested in me, they would try to talk to me and get to know me, and then if I go out on my own for nights and weekends, um, depending on if I was with friends or not, he will look at me, point at me, say things about me. So
Would you say that you were more outgoing there, even though you felt people were talking about you than
I
what you are now?
Yeah, because I was trying to explore the areas around me, get to know other things, like not just be a tourist, but actually know what goes on in the town. And I, got connected with a lot of people that wanted me to like do things with their local clubs and groups and stuff. So I did get to participate in a couple things that kept me active in the community. Like they have a lot of traditions, they have a lot of cultural things, cultural aspects that were very interesting to me at the time. So it did get me up and out of the house.
Hmm.
Whereas now I kind of got into a routine and I'm just like work, home, sleep, work, home, and then on the weekends just sleep all weekend if I can. Um, Even when I've tried to like get people together, it doesn't always work out. So I just kind of like just stop doing that.
You mentioned culture.
Hmm.
When you what do you mean by that for you? How does that, when you talk about it, how does that compare from being there
Hmm.
in Japan to being back on this side?
Well, I had studied it in school, and I had been there once before when I was 16 for the summer. So I knew the basis of like their language, um, the foster or not foster, the host family I was with um, was connected with a Shinto shrine, so I got to see a lot of their practices. They have a lot of rituals, a lot of ceremonies that I got to be either a bystander or participate in, which made me feel a part of them, like their family and their group. But then I was always kind of, for the people that didn't know me, outside of their family, I was always kind of like, I don't know, what's it called when you're like
Standoffish?
No, I was kind of like, oh gosh, what's the word?
Odd man out?
Yeah, basically, I was trying to think of the
But
word,
did
like,
that bother you?
yes and no. Yes, because they didn't get, some of them didn't want to get to know me because they're just like, oh, you're different. And other people, I was able to kind of like break down barriers, be more like a quote unquote ambassador. And because they have a lot of different perspectives of what Americans are or what happens in America, it was always violent. So I felt like I was able to kind of change their minds a little bit just from their interactions with me. Like I was hoping that I was being a good representative and I
Gotcha.
was able to also learn from them too.
Okay. Um, and then there's no programs like it was there for you on this end now for you to join and possibly get those friends that you do like being around to go with you?
So they have in Philadelphia like a Japanese American society, which I've known about since moving back like over 10 years ago, but I never really became active in it because of the distance from where I live. And every year they have like a festival, Cherry Blossom Festival. And I keep telling my friends, oh, I want to go, I want to go. And then every year, whether I don't feel like going that day or I actually was sick a couple years around that time, and it just kind of became this thing where like I really want to go, but I've been, I don't know, maybe blocking myself because I don't feel accepted or I don't feel like going alone. Like if I tell other people I'm going and nobody shows up, what then I'm gonna feel rejected again, you know. But there was one year, a couple years ago, where I said, "Oh, I'm gonna go to this." My friend went, but I didn't go because he didn't tell me he was actually going, like until last minute. So it's just like I don't want to say it became a habit, but it became this thing. It's like looming over me. Like I really wanted to go to these things and participate in things that I'm interested in, but then I just don't want to keep going places alone.
Now, when you was overseas, did you go to certain different places on by yourself?
Yeah, all the time.
So then what's the difference?
I just think that it was expected of me being a expat in a small town in the middle of Japan, rural area, that I would just do things on my own instead of more how their culture is collective is like collectivist culture,
Hmm.
where they always do things together or as a group. So and because I wanted to explore the different things in the town or there was a very big city nearby, there was always something to do. I just get on the train and go. I felt like more independent. Plus I was a newly like graduated from college and I had been kind of on my own since like 17 or 18. So technically it was kind of like normal for me to just do things on my own. But now it's just like, okay, well, I have to get up, I have to get dressed, I have to make a plan, I have to spend money, you know, I'm trying to save up and it just if I keep going out on by myself or go out to eat or whatever, what are people going to think and I don't want to keep being a burden on certain friends or people I think are friends because they have their own lives. I don't feel worth it. Like I don't feel like it's important enough. Like even on my birthdays, I try to get people together because I figure that's a big thing. Like I just celebrated my 40th birthday and like not one person like called me or like put forth an effort to see what I was doing for my birthday. Like, and it's just like, why do I have to keep reaching out to other people?
What about your family? You mentioned that you were on your own.
hmm
What does that mean for you?
so I'm in my own apartment. Last year I did happened upon a cat that needed some what's called temporary shelter, and he's been here for almost a year now. Um, my mom lives close by with my stepdad, but him and I don't always get along, so I just kind of like go over there once in a while. But it's
You
not
guys
money,
ever talk on the phone?
not really. Because we live so close. If I want to talk, I'll just go over there. Um, my brother's in Florida. We don't really have a close relationship. We'll just reach out during holidays or birthdays or something. And I don't talk to my father. I haven't talked to him in like over a decade.
So
So,
there's a breakdown amongst all of y'all,
hmm,
not just one person.
yeah.
When did that
Well,
first start for you?
my brother and I, like, we've always had issues. I always want to resolve it, and he just could care less. He said if I wasn't his sister, we wouldn't even be talking, be friends, or anything like that, which is fine, but it hurt me at the time he said it. And it still kind of hurts now that we don't have a relationship when we're the only siblings. And then my mom and my dad broke, like, separated while I was still in overseas, kind of. And when I found out all the things he had done, I was like, oh, I'm never going to talk to him. And then after a few months being back in the States, I did try to reconcile, like have a relationship with him, try to forgive him for everything he did to my mom and things like that. And he wanted nothing to do with it. Like, he wanted to start his new relationship with his new girlfriend and their kid and her kid, and didn't put forth any effort. And I was like, I can't be in a relationship with my father when I'm the only one trying to mend it. You did something. Yes, you did stuff to my mom, but it affected me. Like, and I was trying to explain that to him, and he just didn't care. Um, and then the reason I stopped talking to him altogether is because, um, ugh,
That's a very sore subject for you, isn't it?
well, yeah, because the way it happened, it's like a big whammy. Literally, I had found out that I was pregnant, and I had a phantom embryo or whatever. So my body was saying I was pregnant, but I didn't really have a fetus. And so I started spotting and went to the hospital. My mom was there for me, but my dad didn't even call me back. Um, and then 6 months later was my birthday, and um, he calls me. Never called me for my birthday prior, like years and years before that. Calls me and was like, "How are you and the baby?" And I said, "You have the nerve, like, to call me, and you knew we called you what happened 6 months ago, and don't ever." I just said, "Don't ever call me again. I don't want to talk to you." And that was the last time I spoke to him. So it was just a lot going on, and the fact that he only has one daughter. To me, I thought he has so much nerve to say those things, and it's just like, if you can't even, like, respect me enough to remember what I told you not even a year ago about something serious that happened to me, you have no respect for me. You have no, like, want to be in my life. And so I cannot keep negativity around me. I forgave him to get it off my plate and my shoulders, but I have no interest in having him be in my life. And every time my mom brings him up or my brother says he's going out there to see him, like, I just don't want to deal with it. I just, like, whatever. I tell him I don't want to listen to it. Don't tell me about him.
I understand. Do you think that you and your father will ever have a relationship? You can work on it?
It's not something that I want in my life because of all the negativity that surrounds him, all the harm that he does to people that have a relationship with him. So it's not something that I want for my future.
Okay. Growing up, how was your how you mentioned religion. How was it growing up and having religion a part of your life?
Well, I did I mention religion?
Yes, you did.
Oh.
You mentioned it very. I think it was more about being overseas and religion and how they were.
Oh,
How were
yeah.
you
Growing
growing up with that? With did you ever have
up.
religion in your life growing up?
Yeah. So I was raised in, well, we moved around a lot, so we kind of like picked up wherever we were. Um, but I do remember being in the Methodist church, which is, I guess, a division of Christian or whatever. Um, so I was confirmed in a Methodist church, but I was just doing what I was asked to do. Like I had to memorize the different prayers, and I did like singing in the church. Like I like singing, so I liked that part when growing up, but there was no real kids my age, so it kind of got really like boring for me, like not to have anyone my age to interact with. So I actually asked my mom to join a different youth group at a Presbyterian church, and because my friends were there, and so I ended up like liking the church, like the youth group part, but I didn't really attend their church per se. So I mean, it was a part of me growing up, but I decided when I got older and I saw all the different cultures, because I've been to a bunch of different countries, so I've seen Buddhist temples practices. I've seen the Shinto. I've seen Muslim mosques. Like I've seen all different religious practices and cultures, and so I figure like if all of that is helping each individual person, like I'm not gonna put myself in one little box. I'm gonna be open to experiences, open to different people, and maybe that's to my detriment because I don't have like one thing that I focus on. Um, but I do feel I'm spiritual. Like I do think about things in the broader sense. I learned about this thing called mana, which is like an energy, not necessarily a person, place, or thing, but just the energy that kind of is managing the world and the people in it and things like that. So, I mean, I'm not probably not explaining it correctly, but I I just like if I live according to my own rules and I don't hurt anyone else, then I feel like I'm doing a good thing. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I don't go to church right now. I don't, because I don't feel like that's part of my story. I don't pray per se to a god or deity or anything like that, but it definitely has been a part of my past.
But not your present.
Right, right. Yeah.
Do you plan to make it a part of your present and your future?
No, organized religion to me, I feel like it has some issues with my way of life and my quality of life. I do identify in the LGBTQ community, so I know there's a lot of controversy with organized religion and how that uh,
Right.
reflects on people in my community. So I just rather live the way I live and try to find the happiness that I can find for myself. So
Do you think that's why you stay away because of the LGBTQ situation and just trying to fit in where you can?
mm, for the most part, like a lot of people see me as straight, so I don't think that necessarily has a factor. I mean, maybe subconsciously,
How does
but
that make you feel though? It has to make you feel some type of way.
I just want people to like just accept me for me, like, and that's only a part of me, you know. Unfortunately, people just see you and your appearance, and then they find out later on, um it's not like I go around wearing rainbows every day all day. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But sometimes it can be a good conversation too, to open somebody's mind. Oh, I didn't know that you were in that group.
Right,
I could
right,
just say, and I'd be like, well, I didn't know you were in whatever, like something that they do. So,
right,
learn
right.
about different things, different people. I don't think that is the only thing, like the main thing that keeps me isolated. I think having the feelings of not feeling worthy of people's time, or burdening them with my issues, is the major thing.
Okay. You say burden.
Hmm.
Why do you say burden?
Um,
Why is that like such a big focus for you? You were able to get out and do things overseas, even if it was by yourself. You made
I
yourself do these things.
yeah, I think that
Were you more happier being overseas and being back here?
um I guess so. There was less pressure, less stress, but
You feel
um
like it's more pressure and stress here? People,
yeah,
people expect more from you?
yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay. How's your journal working out and your breathing exercises?
Um so I did do them a couple of days a week.
Mhm.
Um it wasn't necessarily the days that I felt sad or whatever. So it helped, I guess it helped me carry that on through the day a little bit better.
Okay.
Um, the journal, I wrote it a couple of times because it felt like weird talking to myself almost.
Okay.
Um, but I could definitely see um, that there were times where I was feeling more down than others, from looking at what I wrote. Because I try not to think too much about what I was writing, just try to write down exactly what I felt or thought.
Have you been feeling suicidal? Having thoughts of that?
No, it's just more like tired and stressed and down,
What
you know.
about your eating?
I don't really eat that much. The
Okay.
last couple months, I just feel like I have no appetite really. So I've been eating like little things here and there, like one meal a day tops, and just drinking water. But I haven't been hungry, excuse me, either. So
I
I
see
don't
you're
know what.
tired and you're yarning now.
Yeah, I'm really tired all the time.
Okay, we're gonna have to work more on that and get you where that you're in a comfortable place where that you can go out regardless if you're going out with others or by yourself.
Mhm.
Um, get you to where you feel more at ease
Mhm.
and be okay with, okay, I can do this by myself. I don't need others.
Yeah.
But I still want you to try reaching out to your one friend or family member that you do feel
Mhm.
comfortable enough. And even just if you just say, hey, how's your day? Start out like that. Sometimes that helps.
Okay.
I want you to continue working, especially on the bad days, on your
Right.
journal, because that'll help you a lot. That'll help you kind of clarify whatever is on your mind and what's going and how can you release it.
Mhm.
And I know it seems like weird talking to yourself, but sometimes, believe it or not, that does help writing it down
Right.
because then you're releasing all those feelings, that bad energy, that negative energy that kind of holds you down. And that's what's holding you down right now,
Mhm.
of feeling like you need someone there all the time with you. Um, we're going to talk more about this because this is the root of what's going on with you. It's trying to find that even balance. And
Right.
it seems like a way you had the even balance, even though you were by yourself, but being back home, you're feeling like out of sorts almost.
Mhm.
So that's what we're going to continue to work on.
Okay.
Okay. Did you have any questions for me?
No.
How do you feel about today's session?
Um, kind of uneasy actually, because I didn't think I was gonna share something so personal and deep, but I'm glad I did. Cause like you're saying, getting it out, and expressing things can kind of like relieve a little bit, but then like you also don't want to be judged. So
But that's okay. We'll, like I said, we'll keep working on this. And I want you to especially reach out